You may think the following clip has nothing to do with Ted Cruz, but you would be wrong.
Let's dance.
The ball is Florida, you got!
Andre Agassi used to be a brash enfant terrible, much like Ted Cruz is now. And then Agassi fell out of the top 100 and everyone thought his tennis career was over. But he changed his conditioning, left his wife Brooke Shields, moved on to Steffi Graf, and went on to the most successful part of his career. Ted Cruz could learn how to upgrade his life from Andre Agassi and other inspirational folks like Governor Martin O'Malley, Zaha Hadid, Jean-Georges, Nelly Furtado, Mario Batali, and others who were interviewed by our next guest for her book, Upgrade, Taking Your Work and Life from Ordinary to Extraordinary. Welcome, Rana Florida. All right, Rana, so what lessons could Ted Cruz learn from what you studied? Perhaps working with others, compromising, perhaps assessing risks realistically? What would you say?
Well, I think Andre Agassi said it best. He said success and failure are almost always about outside factors beyond your control, but the most important thing is to love the work, love the process, and disconnect your ego from the results. So I think he needs to maybe check his ego and focus on getting things done.
It sounds like there's a few people in Washington who could maybe take that advice. But another person you interviewed was someone I also had the opportunity to interview, Tony Hsieh, CEO of Zappos, who is now also working to revitalize downtown Las Vegas. What were some of the keys to his success? Because he's sort of an unlikely tech entrepreneur, and he's been phenomenally successful.
He's amazing, and we actually worked with him in downtown Las Vegas on an economic development plan. But his culture of delivering happiness has fundamentally transformed service organizations. So instead of being the fancy boss with the big corner office, he chooses to sit in a small cubicle in close proximity to all his colleagues. He also, small little things, like he doesn't use the word employee. Everyone is an associate or a team member, and it's those cultural differences that have a huge effect on an organization.
Speaking of, talk to us about meetings, because you have mentioned how they can at times be a waste of time. You can swerve from the conversation, and it really can be pointless for many people in the room. And sometimes it can be helpful. I mean, that never happens here on The Cycle in any of our meetings.
Ever.
Ever.
Hey, Ari. What's happening? How you doing, Ari? How you doing, Ari?
Why am I on screen for bad meeting behavior?
Because she's talking about bad meeting behavior.
So we
Someone's a little defensive there.
We don't need the advice, but what suggestions do you have for more productive meetings?
Well, here's what I have to say. First and foremost, meetings kill productivity.
Yeah.
So we spend about 62 hours a month in meetings, and surveys with senior executives say 50% of that time is wasted. So that's 31 hours a month wasted in lost productivity. And a lot of senior managers are now starting to say, well, maybe I should do standing meetings to get them going and moving along faster, or maybe I should ban meetings one day a week to get employees really working. So I think if you're going to have a meeting, keep it below 60 minutes, because anything above 60 minutes is a complete and utter waste of time. And then you have to have the meeting after the meeting to discuss the meeting.
You know, I have a feeling Ari Meller's going to want to jump in.
Can I ask a leading question?
Go ahead.
Does that mean if you have a colleague who's a sort of a disruptor in the meeting and helps shorten it or bring out its absurdity, that's positive for the efficiency of the entire group and company?
The answer is no. No, Ari, no. When
Don't take the bait, Rana. Don't take the bait.
Doesn't help when you do that, Ari.
He does not shorten anything, I will have you know.
No.
But you know, actually, speaking of time, one of the things that you talk about is protecting your time, which is something I am terrible about. I can't say no to anyone about anything. How do you do that well?
Actually, Andre Agassi said that too. Protecting and guarding your time fiercely is a trait of highly successful people, and time is the one resource we can't buy, barter, trade, or ever get back, and once it's gone for good. And they actually call it a time famine. It's the U.S. epidemic that's going on. We're all too rushed, we're too crazy, we're running around, and the goal in life should be time affluence, so to get rich in time, because it brings valuable wealth and well-being to your overall happiness.
Or you just feel bad. You don't want to say no. Crystal's the nicest person I know, and she refuses to tell anyone no, even though deep down she knows she doesn't have the time to do it.
Well, don't be so nice, Crystal.
I'll be a little meaner. I'll work on it.
I mean, you know, for a lot of Americans, failure is the worst possible thing, but it's really not, right? I mean, you talk about it's close to success, and failure can be the source of success. So don't let that be a pitfall. Keep going.
Right, absolutely. Embracing failure as part of the learning process is key. And we were talking earlier about Sarah Blakely, the uber successful youngest female billionaire who went on to found Spanx. Tori, maybe you've heard of the undergarment company.
Oh, yeah.
But she said she learned a really important lesson when she was young. Her father asked her every day when she came home from school, what did you fail at today? So he made it clear that it was an indication that she tried something new, and that was a positive learning experience.
That's powerful. It seems like a hard thing to say to your daughter when she comes home.
What did you fail at today?
Right?
What age should we start that? I have a 5-year-old. Should I be asking her in kindergarten?
Now.
All right.
All right. So, Rana Florida, congratulations on the book.
Thank
you
you
for being here. Up next, the tricky tactic behind